You're listening to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. You'll be amazed at all these wild but true situations that others have found themselves in. Because on this show, you'll hear uncensored, unbelievable stories from the world of real estate. I'm Leigh Brown. Let's dive right in. Hey friends, Leigh Brown here, and welcome back to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. Today's episode is coming at you from Northwest Arkansas, where you're going to meet Jennifer McMurray. And make sure that you have subscribed to the podcast, because I really am dedicated to bringing her back for a part 2 with her dad and my dad. And we'll talk about generational real estate. You're about to learn a lot. You're about to hear a lot of Southern amazingness, and you're just going to enjoy the heck out of this. So I'll see you here on the other side. Before you get the rest of the story, I'd love to share a quick message from today's sponsor. Hey, y'all, just going to take a quick break from this conversation to let you know about the sponsor of today's episode. That sponsor is, well, frankly, it's me. It's Leigh Brown University. Look, it's no secret that real estate is crazy competitive, getting more so every day. And when the pie doesn't get any bigger, but the people wanting a piece of it do, you've got to figure out a competitive advantage. And that's why I created Leigh Brown University. It's everything you need from soup to nuts, cradle to grave, point A to point B, whatever point B is. Each of you has different goals. So maybe you're a new to the career realtor, or you're a super experienced pro who can't figure out that next level. There's something in my course that's going to help you break through. It's designed for you before I even met you. So enroll in Leigh Brown University today. You go to www.leighrownu.com and I'll see you there. Now, back to this amazing content. Jennifer, welcome to the podcast. I'm very glad to have you today.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I'd love for you to tell my listeners and my viewers what part of Arkansas you're in, how long you've been around real estate, any little tidbits they should know about the amazing you.
Well, I'm in Northwest Arkansas, which is unlike any other part of the state. That's what I always tell people.
It's the best little airport nobody's flown into if they didn't work for Walmart.
That's exactly right. If you do get on a plane leaving XNA at any point, it is full of Walmartians. So just be warned. In Northwest Arkansas, home of Walmart, home of the University of Arkansas, the true university in Arkansas, and lived here my entire life. I have been in real estate since I was in my mother's womb, basically. My father owns McMurray and Associates Realtors here in Northwest Arkansas. He's owned that for 45 years. So
he's a realtor emeritus?
Basically, yeah. I was at job sites and showings and open houses before I could talk. I speak real estate fluently before I ever entered the business. So it is all I know. It's my native language. And I work hand in hand and side by side with my dad. He's the principal broker and the owner. And that's always a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the day when you work hand in hand with your dad.
So I can proudly say I retired my dad out. And the worst part of that, though, so we were side by side for all these years. Now I want to talk to him about real estate. He's so tuned out. He's like and I'm like, man, you used to be like my go-to. Yes. And now he's more interested in woodworking and fishing and golfing and the grandkids than he is in real estate. It's a little bit of a downer. I'm not going to lie. So I love that you still get to do that with your dad. I'm curious, though, did you pull the same stunt that I did? I don't want to do real estate.
Absolutely.
Try something else first.
You're exactly right. I mean, and I will tell you, he's very good at getting you to do something without you realizing that it's his idea. And he would be real subtle and drop his, slide his commission checks over to me after a deal.
Crafty dad.
Could have been yours, Jennifer. Could have been yours. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And, here we are.
What did you do for a hot minute before you got sucked in?
I was a high school teacher.
Oh, of what?
English.
That was my dream. I want to teach AP English. No, we shouldn't do that. But I want to make them read As I Lay Dying, because that's my favorite Faulkner novel. And I want them to read Beowulf, and I want them to read Shakespeare, and I want them to put down their devices and fall into books. That's what I was dreaming of. Yeah. And look, Jennifer, I have a red pen on my desk. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You are ready. I did that for a minute. And, God bless anyone that can make it in that career until retirement. I could not. And, while I was teaching, I was also investing in real estate. I was flipping houses on the side, not obviously buying or selling for clients, but on my own, and kind of realized a few years into that, I think Dad's kind of rubbed off. I think I'm pretty good at this, and, took the leap.
All right, so you got to talk about this a little bit because, as you know, it's not just realtors who are afraid to invest in real estate, which has always amazed me that people with a high degree of knowledge in this profession are totally afraid to make the leap themselves. But the public, they watch TV, they watch Property Brothers and House Hunters and all those love it or list it shows, and they think to themselves, that looks so interesting, but they never go, let's go do it. What did it take for you the first time? What was the defining moment that Jennifer said, I got this, and you went out and did the first property?
So the first property, I had no intentions of investing in real estate per se.
It was an accident. I love that.
Literally, it was. I was super broke and I had no money. Dad had to give me his commission buying the house, and I was using my tax refund. I had no money whatsoever, but I could afford it. This was during the real estate crash, so houses were super cheap. And it had burnt carpet, all the things.
Did you say burnt carpet?
Yes, there were...
Like cigarette burns or?
No, I, to this day, don't know what these people were doing in that house. I don't know if part of it was from the fireplace. Maybe there was some cigarette action. I don't know, but it clearly got ripped up like day one. And I lived in that house for 2 years, still teaching my full-time gig. And at the 2-year mark, again, this is where Dad's real good at getting you to do things and not realizing it's the idea. He's real subtle. He's like, I think you could probably sell the house for X amount, which was substantially more than I had paid. And he said, and you won't pay any taxes in it. And just about everything I do in my life is a goal to prove my dad wrong. Like, no, there's no way that that's going to happen in the middle of a real estate crash. You can't even give houses away right now. Put it on the market, under contract for more than Dad even said in a week. I was like, whoa, I may be on something here. And that was the first domino that started several dominoes. And that is actually how I paid off my student loans. I was sitting on $70,000 of student loan debt, and that's how I paid it off in 5 years.
So you were a one house at a time girl?
Initially, yes.
So were all of these houses your primary residence so that you could avoid paying the capital gains?
Initially, yes. And then once I was full-time into real estate, really knew what I was doing when it came to flipping a house for the least amount of money, but the most profit, that's when I started investing in true fix and flips, get in, flip it, get out without it being occupied, but having to pay, obviously, the capital gains.
So listeners, I'm just going to give you a quick insight to what Jennifer's talking about. If you did not know, or maybe you hired an accountant and you just haven't looked at all the details, there is a beautiful tax law that says if you live in a primary residence, that's the big thing, you've got to live there as primary 2 out of a 5-year window, then you will be able to exempt from capital gains within certain limits, single person up to $250,000, a married couple $500,000. It's an amazing way for you to not stay in that primary residence for 50 years if you want to upsize, downsize, or just have a different location and not get penalized for your primary residence. If you're wondering why that tax law exists, you can thank Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina because he single-handedly saved that for us in 2017 in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in conference committee. It was Senator Scott who went to the table and said, hey, we've got homeowners who want to move, need to move, and shouldn't be penalized in their primary residence when they've been taxpayers and taking care of property. So that's a quick insight on that. And if you are at all inclined, now is a good time to send Senator Tim Scott in South Carolina a thank you note, because that's a huge benefit that allows people like Jennifer, who was a school teacher. Remember this, she wasn't a full-time realtor yet, right? She was able to get the equity going in her primary residence to help build her life financially, which is what real estate is supposed to do. So back to you, Jennifer. You can carry on now with your story. I have to explain things, though, because sometimes in real estate, we make assumptions that people just know things, but I grew up in osmosis real estate, and so did you.
And I will tell you, this capital gains exemption is something that most of our clients don't know. When I come into a listing appointment, now you understand that based on what you're telling me, you may not have to pay capital gains tax, and it just blows their mind. So I would say also reach out to your own state senator, because let them know that you value this and how much it is impacting you personally and your clients, because it's not going to be a guaranteed thing for life. We need to keep staying in front of our lawmakers. This is something that is vital to moving up in our wealth building. And, if I had to pay capital gains on all those houses, would my student loans be paid off? Probably not. No.
And you might have stayed put, which would mean you would have done less good work making other houses better for the market, which made them better for people without the vision or the resources to make it something that was really amazing, because not everybody has the ability to flip, Jennifer. They don't have the vision or the resources or the gumption. So you do a lot of scalable things by being the one who improves the property for the market.
That's exactly right.
All right. So you've been in real estate in a lot of different capacities now. So, on this story, we like to give some insights into the part of real estate nobody ever gets to see. And you've seen way too much for any young person. So I would love to know, if you and I were sitting down having a beer and won't be watching Arkansas do anything sports-wise, because they never go very far, as you know, except in baseball on occasion.
Hey, but we're in the Sweet 16 right now.
It doesn't count. This is not a normal year, although I will say that I'm done with Carolina with this one and done mentality, because there is no commitment amongst the young people, but that's a different discussion.
Yes.
If we're watching a baseball game, because that's my jam, and you say, you know what, you're not going to believe what happened over here in Northwest Arkansas. And I say, girl, what happened? What would you tell me? What's the story?
Well, I will tell you that what's happening in Northwest Arkansas is not any different than anywhere else in Northwest Arkansas. I tell buyers, listen, I'm going to need you to sell your soul to the devil to get into a house right now. But I'm Jesus, the one to help.
I mean that literally, Jesus. Yeah. You're just kind of using an anecdote. All right, so I covered us there from the lightning.
We're good. I think there's two different perspectives, kind of deviating from your question for a second. I think there are two different perspectives among buyers agents. And I think one right now is, let's just put our rose-colored glasses on. Let's give them, this is going to be the greatest experience. We're going to find your dream home. It's wonderful. That does not align personally with the market right now, in my belief. Or there's that, listen, let me give you the raw picture of here's where we're at. That's absolutely why you need a buyer's agent in your corner that will go to the mat for you. Because to get a buyer in a house right now, you need an agent, full-time agent that is going to the mat for you in negotiations, inspections, that they are working solely for your benefit. So as a buyer's agent, it's exhausting. You get to the closing table and you feel like you've been in a boxing match, to be real honest. But golly, when you can turn over those keys to the buyer and they made it, it's wonderful.
And isn't it amazing to you, because you pay attention politically and you pay attention to the bigger picture of real estate, which makes you one of the very few. And unfortunately, we need more realtors and more professionals to pay attention to this stuff, because it's not sexy. Housing policy is not sexy. Markets aren't sexy. And there's currently a lot of external players that are attacking buyer agents and saying that buyers don't need agents and agents shouldn't be paid for their work. And in a market such as the one we're in right now, how in the name of heavens can a buyer get into a house without an agent? I can't figure it out, because if I'm a listing agent, which what I do, I get 25 offers on a listing. If you don't have an agent, I'm never going to even see you. I don't have time to get to you, and you're not going to have the paperwork filled out. Why do you think the public has failed to value the relationship with the buyer's specialist?
I would put a big bulk of the blame on the agent. If you aren't proving that you have a value beyond filling in the blanks on a contract, then you don't have a value to that buyer and you're replaceable. If you can show up in ways that go far beyond filling in the blanks to a contract, where you feel like that buyer, you are saving the day for them. You have got them through a multiple offer situation that was brutal, or you've walked them through their concerns. You have shown up to be a resource beyond filling in the blanks and beyond opening a door. If that's all you're doing as a buyer's agent, you are replaceable. Absolutely. And that's going to be the mentality you leave with your clients.
Oh, preach it, sister. Preach it. I love how your eyes got really big too when you got all fiery about buyers.
I'm passionate about we should be doing more. Yeah.
It's a hard market. It's a hard existence. If you're not passionate, this will eat you alive right now.
Absolutely. And I've mentioned, been around this my entire life. I've seen the ebbs and flows of the trends in real estate and what's valued and what's not and what we do and what's not. And I know that we're in the digital world and that makes our life so much easier. But when you just become behind the screen to your clients and there's not a face-to-face, boots on the ground in the trenches with them, how do you have a value to them? When we're knee deep in hell in a negotiation or a house hunt, I want my clients to look over and they see me muddied, bruised in the trenches with them because I'm not leaving them. I think that has got to be a mindset, exactly what you're talking about, these lawsuits and everything attacking buyers agents right now. This is the time that you got to bring your A game every damn minute of a transaction, from the time you meet your client well beyond the closing table. Your job doesn't end at the closing table. Your value doesn't end at the closing table.
And we see this happening because with the pandemic era, there's now people experiencing buyer's remorse. They feel like they paid too much for a house. They got wrapped up in the process, which means that somewhere along the way, they lost sight of what real estate is, which real estate, although you do have the opportunity to fix and flip in some markets, real estate is most of the time a long-term strategy, a long-term hold, especially your primary residence, because why does anybody want to move that often? I don't like moving myself because it's painful. And then I have to throw things away that I didn't know I had. I have to find cans in the pantry that are they've been expired for like 8 years, which maybe I should move more often. But still, there's a lot of pain points there that people forget about when they lose sight of the prize. And the prize, as we know in real estate, is generational wealth. And that's what our clients get to experience when we talk to every one of our neighbors about this is what real estate can look like. So now you got to tell us a story. Now we got everybody all fired up and passionate. Tell us a story. Now it can be heartwarming. It can be crazy, sad, wild, jaw-dropping. What's the Jennifer story?
So we're talking about, crazy shit that happens in real estate. This one is literally crazy shit that happens in real estate. So I'm by the University of Arkansas. That's, in my backyard. This was several years ago on a showing with my dad. And we're showing a property that was clearly a rental for students right by campus. And students are pretty notorious for they don't care.
Bless them, right? We'll just bless them.
Yes. So we show up to this appointment. I hand Dad the key and he puts it in his pocket in his shirt as we're going through the showing. And we're in the bathroom, and I'll spare you the details, but the water had been turned off for quite a while in this property, but kids were still using the bathroom. I'll just leave it at that. So we're in the bathroom. Dad's looking at something that has caught his eye in the bathroom. To be honest, I don't even remember what caught his eye. And he bent over the toilet to look at whatever this was as the key strategically slid out of his pocket in his shirt. And I think you know where this is going, where the key landed. Straight into this toilet. And I dropped to the floor crying, laughing. It's hysterical to me. We're sitting here in this vacant listing, just this shitty, literally vacant listing. And we now have the only key in this toilet.
And you're laughing because that it's not your hand going in there. It's Dad's hand.
Yes. Well, what are we doing here? So he goes around in the closets and he finds a metal hanger. And he's trying to fish. I'm like, Dad, okay, so even if we get this key up, is your hand literally going to touch this key, right? What's our end game here? And at this point, he's so annoyed with me because I can't even breathe or talk because I'm laughing so hard because this is what we get paid to do, is fish keys out of shit,
Because it's always the only key. There's never a spare in these situations.
Literally.
There's only a spare for new construction when you don't need it.
So we have to, call the list agent. Hey, we're a little embarrassed, but so the keys and shit. So what do we need to do?
What did that agent say? Fish it out.
Well, we tried that. So I guess we're going to need to get this rekeyed, so we obviously had that done. We had it rekeyed for the list agent. But that is the kind of things where, you see on these shows on HGTV, they're walking in these glamorous.
That's never happened on HGTV, girl.
I know. They don't show the true grit of this is what I'm getting paid to do.
It's not the grit, it's the shit. I mean, and you know what? I'm going to point something out here, though, that proves what kind of professionals you and your dad are. How many other agents would have left a key in the toilet, left the house, not told the listing agent, left the lockbox empty? The next showing comes to the house, listing agent gets a call, there's no key here, listing agent's thinking, where the hell's the key? And it would have been a mystery to unravel that would have cost the listing agent money. But the difference with you guys, you take this business so seriously that you call the listing agent, let her have a laugh too, but then you handle the rekey because that's what we do when we're handling somebody else's property. And I love y'all for that.
Well, I will tell you, in 45 years of business, Dad has obviously seen it all. In the many years I've been in it, I've seen quite a bit. And I will tell you, the ones that are most respected, that we enjoy doing deals with, are ones that are real and that treat us like humans, and it's a mutual respect back and forth. If you will just do the right thing, that's your legacy, and it makes your personal life and your business life so much easier. So if that means, fishing keys out of shit or having a house rekeyed because that's the right thing to do, then you do it.
I think it just means having your shit together. I mean, there's just so many different little phrases we can throw in here, Jennifer. And that's all I've been sitting here waiting to say is, oh, you like the agents who have their shit together? I see. You said it so eloquently, and I just want to say possible. But I mean, it truly is a difference maker, because in your market, would you say that's like 1% of agents that are at that top level, or would you say it's 3%? Because it's not a huge percentage, unfortunately.
No, it's really not. And you try to have some grace for the rookies that are learning and earning their stripes.
And the old guard who are relearning some skills. Sometimes people have an epiphany moment later in their career.
Yes. And I think that comes back to, we are getting knee deep in these negotiations, and it can be kind of tense and, all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm a human and you're a human. So can we maybe not lose that perspective that I'm talking to another human?
Were you going to say, don't lose your shit? You were. You were going to say knee deep in shit. You were going to say, don't lose your shit. I mean, seriously, girl, every analogy is going to be used right.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh, Lord, this is so much fun and so gross. And I have the best visual ever. And can we all say high five to the COVID era, which has trained people not to go to the bathroom in somebody else's house anymore?
Exactly. I think maybe that era is gone. Let's hope.
Let's hope. I mean, we have to find the silver linings. And one of them is people are finally washing their hands, which they should have been doing all along. And now we don't have to take little kids in showings, which they probably should have been coming all along. And nobody's going to the bathroom unless they're having a real emergency. So I'm grateful.
I'm right there with you.
All right, Jennifer, if anybody wants to find an amazing father-daughter team who can truly do it all in real estate in Northwest Arkansas, how can they reach you?
So you can find me personally on Instagram, and that's Bachelorette Pad Flip. And then, of course, our brokerage is McMurray and Associates Realtors. We're at McMurrayRealtors.com. And we're on Pinterest, and we're on all the things, Facebook. So we're easy to find.
And y'all, her Instagram account is so stinking fun to follow. So make sure you do go hunt her down. And all of the handles and contact information will be in the show notes for this episode. So you can reach out anytime, get some advice, get some professional counsel in Northwest Arkansas. And most importantly, make some connections so that you two can have your shit together. Because I have to say it one more time. Couldn't resist. Jennifer, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And I love that I have a true sister in this business because of the pathways that we followed. And I love what you're doing and how you educate through your accounts. So keep that up.
Thank you so much. I am kind of a little fangirling to be on here. So I'm super, super excited. I had so much fun. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you very much. So, friends, if you want to follow up with Jennifer, you need to get after that because she's kind of a big deal. And if you're thinking, oh, that's no big deal, Leigh Brown, I got a better story than that, then you go ahead and add me, and then we'll put you on a future episode. So subscribe for more, give us 5 stars, and we'll see you next time. As always, I'm so super thrilled that you joined in for more crazy shit. And if you're a realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular human being who happens to have an unbelievable story that you need to tell the world about, or frankly, you just need to one-up the story you just heard, then make sure to DM me on Instagram at Leigh Thomas Brown, or tweet me at Leigh Brown, or frankly, any social network where you hang out. I'm there. And if you had some fun, then you totally want to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.